What's goody, everybody? It's Keeman back with my tea of the day. Welcome back to episode 74, Siete y Cuatro. And it's time to really get into some things. It's time to get into some heartfelt things. It's time to change the narrative and really gain some understanding. So, I want to start off with this. Stop telling people that are sensitive just so you don't have to change your behaviors. Oftentimes, as people, we majority of the time, may not understand how hurtful words can be and how our actions can be offensive to others. And when we speak up and we let that person know, hey, you hurt my feelings, we're automatically called sensitive. No, you're just an asshole, and I'm letting you know about it. That's the difference. So stop telling people they're sensitive just so you don't have to change your behaviors and actions. So I want to get into a few things today about my trans community and how much I love them, and it's time to really uplift you right now. So a few weeks ago, like about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, I seen this movie on Netflix called Saturday Church. And this story was just so important and impactful for me. I have not lived that experience of being trans, but I can understand the disownment, the not knowing who you are, the questioning if what you are is wrong. Because I grew up not knowing who I was. I grew up not understanding my power as a black man, or not knowing my power as a gay black man, and not understanding fully as a young man what being gay was and what that required of me, and exactly what it was, because it's not like we sit down and have conversations about this. So I definitely understood that aspect, but this story was so powerful. It was a coming of age story, and we had this young child who was uncertain of her life and was uncertain if her life was meant to be what she was, quote unquote, assigned at birth, or was she supposed to be who she is. So she started trying on different things and just really becoming herself. But in the midst of that, in the adult presence, she couldn't be who she was. She couldn't wear heels. She couldn't dress up in makeup. She couldn't be who she was because the adults didn't understand it. And oftentimes that's what happens. And then oftentimes, especially when you come out and when you gain that realization of this is who I'm supposed to be, and I have to start living in my truth, fuck everything and everyone who doesn't understand that, whether that be friends, family, church, whatever that looks like in your life. There comes to a time when that has to happen for you to live your full life. Because a lot of times we are in the down low, we are in the closet, we are ashamed of ourselves, and that's hurting us. That's not hurting people. People are okay with you not being yourself because it makes them uncomfortable. And it's time that they get comfortable or they get lost. We can't continue to train and teach people what we deserve and how we need to live our life for us. Because it's not a choice. Oftentimes, people use the word lifestyle as it is, that's offensive. And when people use lifestyle, you need to check them, because now they're making it seem like it's a choice or it's a phase. And it's not a choice or a phase or something that this is going to go away. It's not. It's not going any fucking where. And when people really understand that and realize that, the world can be a better place. And the world will have a better understanding of different people. But that show was definitely, it was important for the culture. It was definitely important for a lot of trans people. Definitely should watch that show because I'm quite sure they can definitely relate in a deeper aspect. Like, she got kicked out, like she ran away because she was not accepted at home. And her mom has to really realize, I've been telling her she can't do this, but this is who she is. Like, she really have that understanding, that come to God moment where it's like, damn, she left because of me and because of my mother-in-law and because of this and because of that, because she couldn't be herself. But she was just screaming for help. She was telling us this is who she is, and we just didn't want to understand that. We couldn't accept that. And we have to stop allowing people to dictate our lives and dictate their feelings onto us. We have to stop it. So, these are things that you do not say or conversate to a trans person. You do not call them transgendered. You do not call them transgendered. You do not call them a transgendered. You do not call them tranny. That is the most derogatory word you can ever use. Tranny, faggot, nigger. Same fucking category. They all hurt the same. Know that. Understand that. Do not ever use that. Don't ever use any of these terms. A trans. He, she, her. Girl, boy, boy, girl. If you do not physically understand what you're talking, the person that's in front of you, ask them how they want to be called. Ask them what pronouns they want to be used. Ask them their name. Call them by their name. It's simple. But any of this stuff is not tolerated, and we're not going to tolerate it. It's called respect. Respect is earned, not given. But you can call them people. You can call them trans people. You can call them trans folks. You can call them transgendered people. You can call them by the pronouns that they like. He, she. They, their. Ask them the pronouns. Ask them the name that they want to be called by. Be respectful. Trans women are women and trans women. You can call them a woman. You can call them a trans woman. You're not going to call them a man. That's disrespectful. Not tolerated. Trans man. You can call him a man. You can call him a trans man. You're not going to call him a woman. That's just respectful. Don't assume that the only way to transition is through hormones and surgery. Medical transition is very often based on an economic status. You have to financially be able to do that. And that's not the only choice that you have. Recognize the classism intent in associating medical transition with authentic trans identity. Just because you get the surgery, if that is their choice, does not make them any less of a trans person, or any less of a man or woman. That is their choice to have the surgery. It is a trans person's choice to not. It does not make them any more or less of a trans person. But if that is a trans woman, that is a woman. If that's a trans man, that is a man. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Don't assume all trans people feel trapped in the wrong body. This is a over simplification and not the only way all trans people feel. Don't assume all trans people identify as men or women. Many trans people identify as both, neither, or something altogether, outside of the gender binary. Again, with the pronouns, you have to call them by the pronouns. Ask them what pronouns is appropriate for them, and they will let you know. And also ask them when you can use their pronouns. When is it safe for you to use the pronouns? If they're not out to their family or it's not comfortable or shaking with their family, call them by their name. If it's shaky at work and you meet them at work, ask them, what is their comfortability level? How should they be called? How should that trans sister and trans brother be called? Ask them. It's pretty simple. But we're not going to assume that all trans people felt like they was trapped in the wrong body. We cannot assume that. Trans individuals with non-binary gender identities, and just as trans as some people who identify as binary trans individuals. So if you don't identify as a man or woman, you're still as trans as someone who does. We have to understand that. We have to respect that. Do not let transphobia slide on any occasion. If you see a trans brother or sister being attacked, you step the fuck in. You do not fucking record. You do not put that shit on Instagram or Facebook. It is not a comedy. It's not anything that is fucking funny. It is not okay. You do something about it. You get in that person's face who is being transphobic. Transphobia is a phobia of something that they do not fucking understand. And they don't want to understand because of how they was raised. Of what they think trans people are supposed to be like. The confusion that they have. The uneducation that they have. The lack of education they have. The lack of information that they have. The lack of trying to even get information. The lack of effort that they have. Unfortunately, our sweet dear sister, Laverne Cox, was attacked. Her and her friend. When is this gonna stop? When are we going to stop attacking people for who they are? When are we going to stop attacking people for the uneducated, for the lack of resources, the lack of information, the lack of respect? When are we going to stop killing our trans brothers and sisters? When are we going to stop assaulting them and making them feel less than? Making them feel like they are the bottom of the fucking barrel, and they are not. They are as important as every fucking body else. But we treat them as they will never be important. They're never special. I cannot fathom how Laverne Cox feels. I can't. But I can fathom that she's a human being who deserves respect, who deserves to feel protected. And we're not protecting her because we're allowing it. Why is it okay for you to wake up and for you to decide, you know what? I'm going to attack someone today. You know what? I don't understand trans people. I want them dead. So now I'm going to attack them. Just because. Just because I don't understand. Just because I don't want to understand. Just because I follow this little book that says that they are an abomination. But wasn't you eating seafood? So aren't you an abomination too? Didn't you get that person pregnant out of wedlock? So aren't you an abomination too? Don't you curse and sin? Aren't you an abomination too? Don't you judge people? Isn't that an abomination? We cannot put one sin against another. Because at the end of the day, God made every human being on this earth. And He made us all different and precious for a reason. So by you thinking you're doing God's work, you're not. You won't see that fucking pearly gates. Because God made Laverne Cox. God made Dominique. God made MJ Rodriguez. God made these black beautiful sisters. God made all of these beautiful sisters. God made her name like right on the top of my head, because she is definitely my WCW. But God made us. So if He made us, how are we wrong if He made us? Make that make sense. If He made us in His imperfections, how is me being gay wrong? How is being trans wrong? How is being black wrong? How is being white wrong? How is being rich wrong? How is being poor wrong? Make it make sense. We can't. Whoever attacked Laverne Cox needs to be dealt with. It's not okay. It's never been okay. And we're not going to tolerate it. So that person needs to be arrested. That person needs to be taught a lesson. Never out a trans person. By outing a trans person, that is putting them, their lives, their livelihood in jeopardy. That's giving them a big fuck you. I don't care about you. That's how trans people get attacked for no reason. Because you outed them. Again, always use the correct pronouns. And name person. And their names that they want to be used. Gender identity is not linked to sexual orientation. Let me repeat that again. For the people in the back. For the people who equate the two. And they are completely fucking different. Gender identity is not linked to sexual orientation. Just because the person is a female going to a male, the F to M, does not mean the female going to man does not mean that trans male cannot be gay. Does not mean that trans male cannot be straight. They can like women. They can be pansexual. They can be bisexual. Those are two different things. But we sometimes equate the two because we don't understand it. But now it's 2020, going on 2021. It's time for fucking understanding. It's time for you to do your homework. It's time for you to ask motherfucking questions. It's time for you to not live in your fucking box and continue to be simple-minded. It's time for you to be okay with being uncomfortable. It's time for you to be okay with not understanding, but respecting the fact that they are living in their truth. Whether you understand it or agree with it or not, it is not your choice. It is not your fucking right to then attack us for living in ours. It's not my fault that we're too fabulous for you. It's not my fault that us living in our truth makes you uncomfortable. I'm sorry that me being gay or a person being trans makes you feel uncomfortable. Is it because you're secretly want to be out, you want to be open, you want to live in your truth, but you can't? Because you choose not to? Because you continue to want to listen to fucking society? And what society thinks? Society can suck a dick. Society should no longer fathom and have that much hold on your life. And if it does, there's something wrong with you, boo-boo. There's something you gotta get right with. And I hope you get there. I truly hope you get there, because living in someone else's shadow, not truly being yourself, it's no bueno. It's not good. It's not conducive to anyone's life. Like, I'm so happy and so fulfilled with being out. Like, all throughout high school, I was just trying to hide it. I knew I was different. I knew I was attracted to men. I didn't know what that name was. So when I found out what bisexual was, I said, you know what, I'm bi. And I never touched a woman after the first and last woman I touched. After that, I came to terms like, no, I'm not bi, I'm gay. And then learning and living this life and living my truth. It's so fulfilling. Because no one can tell me not a goddamn thing. No one can tell me I'm not perfect. No one can tell me I ain't shit, I ain't gonna be shit. No one can tell me that all of this stuff that goes around and circles around with being gay. And no one can tell me that my livelihood is at jeopardy. I know, but I'm fabulous and I'm still gonna live my life. I'm not gonna put, all black men or all gay men have HIV. No, we don't. We don't. We do take up a percentage of that rate, but quite as it's kept, there's a lot of straight men who have HIV as well. So we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna continue to bash a gay man for being flamboyant. We're not. Because that is our prerogative to be as flamboyant as we need to be. I'm sorry that makes you feel uncomfortable. We're not going to condemn the person or have a blind eye to the masculine gay men. We can't. Because we exist. And the medium, the ones that's in the middle, the one that has the feminine traits but also can show their masculine traits, we are present too. This world is so colorful. I just wish that we can all really look at the colors. It would be wonderful for us to really look at all of the colors and start making it a black and white and putting things in boxes and shoving them in a closet or under a bed. And when we stop doing that, the world will be a lot better place. Thank you for listening to Kimmy with the Cheese channel. This was amazing. I hope you really listened to everything I said, my opinions. I hope you really listened to the meat and potatoes of this, because this was for us. And this just really makes me emotional talking about this. That's why I love doing stuff like this, because it really puts perspective into my life and how open and willing I am to embrace everyone in their flaws and in their just graces and powerfulness. If you haven't hugged someone today. Thank you for listening to Kimmy with the Cheese channel. This was episode 74. And this was about trans lives. This was about gay lives. This was about lives. But predominantly about trans lives and how important they are. Because they are. In my community, the trans community is the bottom of the totem pole. And that's a fucking problem for us. We can't ask for equality if we beat down people in our community. It is LGBTQI+. Because there's different facets of within our community. It's not just entangled into that. But it is LGBT, trans. Why that last? You're not last. You're not last to me. You're so important. You're so fucking important. And I'm lifting you up today. Thank you for listening, guys.